show you how to make an inspiration journal that should take you through at least the first term of A-level textiles, and hopefully will document some of your thoughts and feelings from lockdown and throughout the summer period. If you're successful in your inspiration book, it should be able to take you all the way through the course and serve to be a constant source of inspiration that you can reflect on and go back to. It might even provide a platform for your personal investigation in year 13. So it really is important to look at how we construct this and what things we can do and how we can put them into the form of a inspiration book or journal. So on the first page, I've just written about what I think it should be. It should reflect on your thoughts and feelings through lockdown, and I'd like you to go back in time and reflect on that period of your life, because it is unprecedented and hopefully will never ever happen again to you. So those things are really important, but I also thought it'd be good for you to look at how different artists documented that period of time through photographs and images. So I've given you some links to that on the next slide. But I wanted to start at the beginning and talk to you a little bit about what A-level textiles is and how it is assessed. So there are 4 assessment criteria: AO1, AO2, AO3 and AO4. With an investigations and inspiration journal, you will be looking at AO1, so looking at different sources of information. You should have primary and secondary sources of information to get that top band of convincingly thought about different areas that you can investigate. You should be looking at AO2, so by experimenting and coming up with ideas, looking that have responded to those images and thoughts in AO1. And AO3, this is a brilliant way of getting good marks in AO3 because you record your ideas and observations. If you can make your inspiration book a daily journal, even better. And it will be something that you can keep and look back on for the rest of your life, hopefully. So sources of information and ideas. I've just put primary research, secondary research, and what those 2 different definitions are. Like I said, you do need to have a combination of both. You should also be looking at the FROG subject pages for art textiles, art and design and photography for more ideas. And underneath there's a link to Mr. Ray's page on his photography site that takes you through how to create an art journal. That's really important and really informative. I learnt loads from that. So about presentation, how you might go about planning your journal, and different ways of how you put that information into a journal that make it interesting and inspirational. So I'm just quickly looking at some secondary research sources, and I thought I'd start with lockdown because it has been very unusual, very challenging, quite different from anything I've ever known in my lifetime. And these are some of the newspaper articles that I picked up that have some really interesting images of lockdown and how different people survived and coped and dealt with challenges, and some of the things and thoughts that they were feeling throughout that period. So take some time and have a look at all of those different sites. I think they're really inspirational, some better than others, but they do start to give me ideas about what life was like for different people, and it might just trigger something in you that you might think, oh, okay, no, that is interesting. I'm going to think about putting some of those images in from my experience of lockdown. Because it's really difficult to go to galleries and exhibitions at the moment, I've looked at different museums that have virtual exhibitions on at the moment, and there's some links down below. I think these are incredibly informative, and they do give you a really good sense of those exhibitions. I particularly love the one of Savage Beauty of Alexander McQueen in the V&A. That demonstrates his whole collection, and there's a really good kimono exhibition as well, where there's 4 YouTube videos taking you right the way through the collection. So take some time, watch those links and see what you think. So in terms of secondary research, how do you store all of your ideas? I like to have a Pinterest site so that I can keep going back to it and keep looking at different sources of information. the beauty of Pinterest is not only can you add your own sources, but it offers you new ideas every time you log on. So I've done a YouTube tutorial here that shows you how to add your own links and information onto your own Pinterest site. So that really works for me, and it helps to sort of categorize my thoughts and ideas, and it's a central point that doesn't take up any storage on my computer, and I can keep going back to it. And it's about sharing those ideas as well, and allowing Pinterest to offer me different sources of information. So have a look at that video. So primary research, you get loads of marks for primary research, but what does it actually mean? And primary research is when you have provided that information yourself. There's loads of different examples here of primary research, how you can put that information into your journal. But it has to be something that you have created yourself. So, and part of the information that you want to add, so photographs and sketches, but things like gathering postcards, etc. Putting things in from visits and experiences that you have experienced yourself throughout the next few weeks. But have a look down that list and think about how you can add those to your journal. Remember, it is textile, so you should add texture where you can. Don't worry about how it looks at this stage, but stick in envelopes and postcards and bits of wallpaper. Did you do up your bedroom throughout this period? That's a really good example of how you can document an experience and use it for inspiration. So what does that look like? Okay, so on the right hand side you'll see that there's different sources of information, or where inspiration comes from. So you can look at art, poems, lyrics, holidays, all of those things, and a way of presenting it on the left hand side. So what I thought I'd do is then write down lots of different ideas for pages in your inspiration book. So read through, I'm not going to read them for you. Take your time, have a look. Do any of them really appeal to you? How can you document all of your experiences and inspiration and then respond? If you go through the next two slides, you should find different ideas that are going to help you construct your inspiration book. So on this slide here, I've looked at how to create a textile print. I particularly like this YouTube tutorial, so I've added a link, and I've also added a link to my Pinterest page on how to present your work at A level. So as soon as you get onto, if you follow that link, it will take you to all of my boards on Pinterest, which might be interesting. But I think it's good to see the standard of work that you should be producing. And this is something I found online as well, and it's a brilliant site, and it just takes you through the process of creating an art journal. So rather than me produce all of that again, have a look, go through. It's got loads of ideas, and it's certainly informative to me, and it might just spark some interest in you. So again, might take a little bit of time, but make sure you look at all the links. On the next few slides, I've just looked at what a visual journal might look like. Different ideas that I've got from Pinterest, doodles, images cut out from books, some pressed flowers and some drawings in response, a nature journal, and a designer journal. And these are just different styles of drawing that I've taken from Mrs. Lewis's art, craft and design page on Frog. So what a doodle looks like, a line drawing, cross hatching, and that's it. So good luck. I'm really interested to see what you'll produce, and have a look through your inspiration books, and hopefully they will form the basis of 2 very creative years.